Hi everyone, how are you? Welcome to our tutorial. Today we're gonna be completing the activity mat you got for homework. Okay, so just let's go straight into it, and let's start by tracing. This is the letter formation part. Look, this is the activity mat, and we'll start with the tracing activity. Okay, you will need a colored pencil. And you will just try to follow, okay, the correct formation of the letter. I will use, for example, a blue pencil. I will make it a bit thicker. And you will go like this, okay? You can also say the sound as you trace it. A. Now the lowercase. A. Then we have E, okay? If it is at the beginning of a word, okay, in initial position, you will start with a capital letter. So you will say E. And again with the lowercase, E. All right, there you go. That's the very first part. Now we have the tricky words, okay? And in this part, we need to underline, look at this, I will make it now thinner. Underline the tricky part of the word, okay? So remember that every tricky word has a tricky part to it. Let's take, for example, to, okay? Look, I will do it just right here for you to see. Let's take the word to. Now, in that tricky word, there is a part which is or has the typical spelling, and there is a part that is tricky, okay? So if you pronounce or if you produce each sound, you will say something like t and o, right? That would be the typical spelling, t, o. But when we read it all together, in fact, it goes to. So, which one is the tricky part? Which one is the sound or the part that has a different pronunciation? So let's see again. T, oo, to. So this one is the tricky part. You see? That is the tricky part. Oops, sorry. So t sounds as usual, but o sounds oo. So there we have the tricky part. Tenemos que encontrar esa parte que hace a la palabra engañosa. La t suena como siempre, pero la o es la que suena diferente y es la que no tenemos que dejar que nos engañe. Okay, so we would say to, and the tricky part there is oo. Now, if we take a look at the other tricky words in the activity, there we go. We have, for example, e, he. So which one should be the tricky part? Or e? Think about it. The same with we. Think about these two sounds there. W, e, we. Which one is the tricky part? W or E? In this case, it's E, right? That is the tricky part because it should say Esa va a ser la parte engañosa porque si no debería decir y no decimos we, we say we, okay? So that's how we do the tricky words. Then, guys, you have to fill in with the missing sound. We need to use A or E. Look at these two kids there, a boy and a girl. They meet. They say hi, they shake hands, and they meet. So, what should we write there? Here now we have the tail of a fox maybe, or the tail of a dog. But it's a tail, T-A-L. So we should again write the missing sound. After that, you can move on to this, unscrambling. Look at the picture and unscramble the letters to make the matching word. The first one, I will help you with some silent dictation maybe. The first one is a chain. So we have ch, a, n, chain. After that you have the male, male, male. I'm sure you know this insect. It's a bee. There's no need to help you with dictation there. And finally we have a little seed, a seed. So seed. Okay, that will be the first page. Then you can move on to the second page. In this page, we have a picture match activity. You will read the word. Look, let's read the word. For example, rain, and match. So which picture shows a rainy day or the rain? I'm sure you know it, but look, let me help you with this one. You will do like this. Ready? Okay, the rain. After that, you have to fill in again with the missing sound. Here, this guy is going to fish. And to fish, you need a bait. A bait. That will be bait. Okay? In Spanish, we call it carnada. So we need the bait there. And in the other part, or the other picture, shows a swimming pool. And the swimming pool is not shallow. It's a deep swimming pool. It's very deep. So maybe if you jump into the swimming pool, you will need to swim. And if you want to go down, you'll be able to reach the bottom. So it's a deep. That will be deep. A deep pool. Then we have a very simple exercise, which is reading the words and circle the matching picture. Okay? You need to sound out the letters to be able to read. You will say p, e, g, t, ale, pigtail. Look at the first picture. Do you think this is a pigtail? Or this one, which we know is a seashell. This is a shell. I don't think so. So a pigtail is what many girls in general have, okay, from their head, and they put their hair in a pigtail, okay? Some girls usually put it in a ponytail. But well, this is a pigtail, okay? So you will circle the matching picture, a pigtail, these things here. Then we have the word here. You should be able to read it and choose. Look at the others. Look at all the pictures. Necesito mirar todas las imágenes para ver cuáles puedo descartar. So, you know this is a box and this animal. So, choose the one you think is okay. Then you will read this one, and finally to weep, okay, which is when we crying. The very last activity is the caption write, okay? You need to write a caption, a phrase, a sentence, okay, some words to match the picture. If you look at the picture there, you can see the queen, an animal. What animal is that? You know it, it's a sheep, and they are in jail, that would be jail. So what can you say about that? The queen, a sheep, the jail. Write something there, okay? And that will be it. For activity mat week 5, you should do something similar, okay? You will trace, underline the tricky part, okay? For example, here, I will help you with this one, look. Was, w, sounds the same, but os is not the same. It's not the typical pronunciation. So that is the tricky part, you see? Was. Think about my. What happens there? Then we have, filling the missing sounds. This is a loaf of bread. And this is your thigh. Okay, the part of your legs, okay, your thighs. Then again, you need to unscramble the sounds. We have here a fight. They are fighting, fight. This is the opposite of day, the opposite of day. Then again, a loaf of bread, that big piece, the big chunk of bread. And a goal. Okay, so remember that the sounds here we're practicing are I, and O, as in boat. Good. The last page again will have a matching activity. Read and match. Filling the missing sounds, we have a what? High five. Here, look. The boys, high five. When you do this, okay? High. And then this item of clothing is a coat. Once again, circle the correct picture. Okay, this is a word we did in class. Lightning. Item of clothing. I think you know this from literacy. This is an insect. Not very nice for me, but it's an insect. And finally, soap. Once again, look at the picture and write what you see, a caption, a word, a phrase, a sentence. This animal it's not a frog, it's a toad. So you can say, the toad is where? Or what is the toad doing? So think about that and write your caption. Okay, that will be it. I hope you can complete it and do it at home. If you have any questions, just let me know and ask me, and have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.